the PUBG Mobile World Open. Cameron, you and I have got a little bit of chance to cast some PUBG Mobile together, but not quite in this environment, not quite on this stage. So I'm very excited to get into it. Map number 1 on Erangel. Let's get this going.
Yeah, this is the first game of the first week of League play, so I'm expecting a lot out of this. And the playing path on Erangel, it's not great. It could certainly be a lot worse, but it's still, it could throw a little bit of a hard little wrench into the plans of some of these teams.
For sure. I mean, if you're Tempo Storm, you're still going to get Pachinki, and that's probably the thing you're happy about. For everybody else, all right, maybe we have to rethink some plans here. A lot of these teams do like to play up around Georgia Pole, and that's going to be a little bit of a hike, so we'll keep an eye on that. And of course, this first circle, we've seen some exciting adventures, especially on day number 1s, game number 1s. These circles like to be a little wacky, and I would expect nothing less from... I love it when I feel validated, Cameron, after that. I feel validated.
Yeah, you teased the interesting first game, and this could lead into one. If it swings down south, you know, maybe it could slow down a little bit, it'd be a little boring, but I do hope to see some very, very interesting and fast rotations off of this circle, especially for the teams that dropped out early around the quarry area, around the Primorsk area, to have to drive all the way up that west side and really manage that Yasnaya Lake.
Yes, indeed, and we're seeing already a potential, little bit of a scuffle here, playing in around Milta. KHK up against Konina Power. We've been talking about the kill potential of this team, how capable they are in these gunfights, and if they're able to get some guns in hand, this could get saucy. Because some of the analysts were talking about how we go into this, the idea that, okay, it's day number 1, we're sort of resetting things a little bit here. Maybe we'll have some contested drop spots, and that's potentially what we're seeing. We'll see if KHK decides they do want to relocate, if they are able to find a vehicle. But KP is very aware of where they're at right now.
Actually, nades are already coming in. That's a good attempt there by Rob. He has a really good sightline, really good angle onto KHK, but as you mentioned, if KHK have a vehicle access, the road leading out of Milta, it could be a really easy path for them to take. It's all up to whether they want to go aggressive or not. And I think Octavian here, he's just trying to get some information to see if Konina Power are going to go aggressive onto them. He has some really good close-range weaponry, but if this comes into a poke war, I don't know how effective he's going to be with the SMG and shotgun.
Level 1 helm, no vest. Yeah, that's not a fight that you're going to want to take at this point. But we'll see if they're going to decide to take this here. I'm trying to look at the loot. Yeah, I mean, even Konina Power doesn't have a whole lot of loot as well going into this. They don't have the armor or health. I feel so bad here for Rob. He's just got to try and reposition. So this is going to get interesting because we talked about the idea of how passive do we want to play right at the beginning here. Do you want to go hyper aggro? Do you want to put your stamp on day number 1 going into league play? Or do you want to play for those points? Do you want to not leave anything to chance? And that's, I think, maybe what these players are going to lean towards here. They don't want to make any silly mistakes that are going to cost them. They're looking at the chicken dinner. They're looking at the final prize, not necessarily this first fight.
Yeah, even though you do get points from kills, just the weight that there is on placement and positioning means that I think you should really only go for kills if you don't put yourself in a bad position by doing so. And I think taking that fight in Milta is one of those situations that it would put you in a bad spot. So I think we saw just for a quick second them trying to leave, but also in this situation in Yasnaya, we got a little bit of a standoff that no one's going super aggressive on it either. But this, Zaina, this might be a little bit of aggression, or at least some information, some tags, some pot shots if you can find an angle.
Yeah, so chilling up here on the overlook, just trying to get a grasp what's going on around us. All right, where are we at here? And this is interesting. So we've been seeing a lot of this play developing in the global scene. The idea, you know, we saw a lot of 2-2 in NA for a long time, but the 3-1 is something that a lot of teams have been sort of tending to favor, the idea of having a scout. And we are actually seeing pop up in the kill feed as well. A little bit of a scuffle did end up happening there in Milta. But this is something that a lot of teams are doing, having this person, especially early on, who's going to play forward, who's going to play for intel, who's going to take those pop shots like you mentioned before. DP prone, easy, all day. We take those, even with IR sights. And Zanda's like, okay, I did my job, and now it's time to leave. Going to reset with the team. And a little bit of actually opening back and forth scuffles happening here. I'm actually a little bit surprised to see this, given how passive we know some of these top teams like to play, especially in our very first game, and especially on a map as well known as Erangel.
Ooh, this is another move that's really not passive at all. Loops are charging directly in. Do they know that Marco is here? Well, they absolutely do now.
Oh my goodness, he's up on the roof, one man against the world, and this is Loops, the team that only knows one direction to run, and that is forward. We'll see what Marco's going to be able to do, and the nades are there. Oh my goodness. Yahtzee, that's Marco getting knocked instantly, but the rest of the team is going to try and rotate on in, see if they can locate those opponents, rotating around the gas station, and finally able to hit the shots point blank range, and that's the shot coming in from Team Queso, and the return knock. Beautiful headshots coming in from Dayton. Oh my goodness, this one's getting saucy, Cameron.
There's not just 2 squads, there's 3, there's 4 actually if you're looking at the mini-map. And Loops, they had a really aggressive start, but they didn't go fast enough, and they ended up actually getting sandwiched themselves by Queso. That, and what can he do here? He obviously hears the action just above him, so he's making sure to get the information, keeping his head on a swivel, but I'm looking at his position, and I'm wondering how in the world he's going to be able to get out of this safely.
I don't think there's a good answer to that, unfortunately. I don't think there's a world that exists where you walk away from this one completely unscathed, especially given the fact that Loops has had a little bit of a moment to reset. Carrillo did end up going down during that. But we are just, able to get them picking that up. There's the bleed, and they are going to be able to reset around the gas station here. Battered, but not broken. 3 kills. So 3-for-1 trade, all in all here for Loops. Not the worst thing ever. They would have loved to be able to keep that one teammate alive, but at least they've got themselves a decent position, and they're aware now of where their opponents are.
Tempo are arriving now. This could make it even worse for Loops. They as you mentioned, they already lost 1 player, which for 3 kills, not the worst trade, but it's this so early in the game, they want to try and make sure that they don't lose any more, even if that does mean going a little more passive, which isn't exactly something that you equate to the Loops team. Just in this, and the reason why we're seeing, I think, so much pressure on this bridge is because it is dead center of the circle, and the river and the lake on Erangel can continue to be important.
Map control is so crucial. Shutting down the options for your opponent's rotations, getting ahead of them, and especially because, again, we're getting to the point where these teams have played and scrimmed against each other so much, they know where their opponents like to rotate, where they like to go. So if you can shut down those paths, you can limit their options, you can force them into situations they may not want to take, into sort of these controlled zones from these other teams. And maybe, we've seen some players get picked off on drive-bys. That's kind of what you're hoping that you can facilitate by taking over pretty essential ground like this.
Gone quiet. No one wants to go super aggressive at this point. They met each other, maybe when they weren't expecting it, maybe when they were expecting it, but they just got to slow it down now. Ooh. Tempo doing a good job using the trees and the hills to get information, but without, putting themselves in danger, without overextending, like the 3x on the DP. And actually, HH24 gets one onto Becker. Good opening. Are they going to go aggressive onto this?
I think they may be a little bit too far off to maybe I spoke too soon, though. Hang on. Are they going to try and push? Becker is down. No, they're going to be able to reset and get him back up. If they had been just a little bit closer on that one and he wasn't in such a secure position, I think Tempo may have tried to push that, but like we were just saying, there's a time to calculate it. There's a time to do the math, put in all the equations. When should we push this? The metaphorical W key. That was probably not the situation there, as we are jumping back on board with Wildcard. Taking a look down onto Umbra, and Wildcard, of course, one of the favorites coming into this, as we're also seeing this circle going to be moving on up, and that's not a bad one, all things considered, pretty center. So this is going to be definitely favoring Wildcard, though, who already have this northern half of the circle already under their control, just outside of Severny. This is looking pretty good for them.
Yeah, they're actually one of the fastest teams to move, not just in general away from their drop spot, but above onto the north side, around Severny, north of the river, and they want to make sure that they keep control. That's why you see Sam there. Even though this team is so far away from them, they still want to make sure that they're just being as loud as possible, peacocking, as I call it every once in a while, of just being trying to look as big and aggressive as possible so they can control as much space.
And we've casted other tournaments, and there's the idea that you see a team pop up in the kill feed, you hear the gunshots, and that's like the team you don't want to fight. Part of the problem is when you get to this level of competition is that everyone is a threat. You know what I mean? That you can't really even have that thought process go through your mind because everyone's a shark. Everyone is ready to go if they smell blood in the water. So, at this point, it's like, maybe we're going to try and puff ourselves up pretty big here. But at the same time, you're a bull in a field of bulls. I mean, everybody is a threat.
Looking at SWAT 69 here, holding the cube compound. Ooh. And I'm a little curious why they haven't started moving yet, because it's an alright position in the early game, not super strong in this round's phase 1, but phase 2, it's just not strong at all.
Yeah, we did actually see Bayo get knocked by the zone there. We'll keep an eye on that with Cloud9, but as we jump back on board with Tempo, Rain not quite able to connect those long-range DP shots. The dinner plate, smash that one, try again, find a different one. As Yala's just like, maybe let's go somewhere else. That's a silly place. We are going to reset a little bit, and they are going to be able to find a hill to call their own. Rain, you probably don't want to jump up on that, friend. Just as an aside, that's maybe not the place you want to be.
So Yala right now, they just took over the hill that Tempo was controlling. The reason why Tempo backed off is because Tempo wanted control of that bridge that Anas is looking at right now, because we still don't know where exactly this circle is going to end up going, north or south of the river. It's likely going to go north, but it's never 100% guaranteed. And so Tempo having control of one of the few choke point crossings is, I think, going to be very, very powerful for them. It's, as I mentioned earlier, a reason why that compound, the gas station that Loops was on, was so contested in the early game.
And you just get to that point where you've got to make a call. You've got to try and commit a little bit here. What side are we going to set on? Where are we going to draw our line of scrimmage? And that's sort of what these teams, the game of chicken back and forth, these teams are playing right now. And again, they're making these calls. SWAT 69, they also have themselves in a pretty good position. They've got a compound as well here on the river, just over on that north side, and Nova can be rotating in. We haven't got a chance to talk about Nova too much so far this game. They dropped down. They had this interesting split drop on Military Island and just north of the river, the island as well, I should say. And they're now being able to rotate in. They've done one of these long loot sessions. They're feeling really good. They got actually not even as many meds as I would like to see coming out from them, at least in Easy's backpack. So they're going to be rotating up a little bit later. A different strategy coming in from them. I think that was very much a combination of something they had planned to do and reactionary to the circle.
Yeah, I agree with you on the meds. As you mentioned, they spread over the entirety of the Military Island, which to me thinks they want to be able to grab as much loot as possible, divide and conquer, but there was one player on that team that had 1 bandage and 2 first aid kits. That's, I mean, yeah, sure, they used a bit because of the blue, but okay, you're talking about making a decision. The circle has decided we are going to go north of that river, north of Yosnaya, and Wildcard's position, as well as Umbra and Unique, are very, very strong. Everyone else is going to have to scramble, because the reason why this part of the map is so difficult is because there are significantly fewer areas to play compounds terrain than a lot of other spots on Erangel. So the team that gets here first is going to have a huge advantage.
Yeah, you can sort of set up these barricades, play around the vehicles, and again, getting set up for the old school style of PUBG Mobile used to be there's a lot of edge creeping involved. You basically didn't want to have anybody come up behind you, and then teams started to realize that the faster you were able to rotate, the sooner you were able to get it set up, then you could be the defenders. People had to try and take over your castle, and they found that was actually basically just a better way to play the game. So now we are constantly seeing teams trying to be as proactive as possible. Reactionary play, especially in a game with as skilled teams as this, is going to get punished every single time.
What's also going to get punished is a lot of these rotations coming in from the west side. Nova, luckily enough, are actually able to make their way just barely inside the circle, grabbing that tiny itty-bitty compound, but there's a lot of teams that are coming from the west side.
Ader's like, maybe is this one open? No, okay, we'll go to the next one, thank you. And they were able to get Bayo back up, which is good. I was wondering if there maybe he's having some, oh, hang on. King, oh my goodness, no. Don't let him go, Pyra. Don't let him go. Never let go, Jack. And that's just going to be an easy pickup there. And that's what we're talking about. I love it. I make a point, and they put an exclamation on it. That is what happens when you get there first, when you're able to get set up. Late rotations are going to get you caught every single time. You cannot underestimate it. They are going to hit those shots. They hit those.
Yeah. I'm also going to want to look back, because SWAT 69, the only advantage that I could think of them holding that cube compound was to keep Cloud9 out. And so the fact that Cloud9 able to get in front of them on this circle shift, I don't know if that was a mistake on SWAT 69 or Cloud9 just doing something really, really well. But nonetheless, 69, they're still in it. They only lost 1 player, and their position is not awful, especially, well, those Udyr killers, do they know that they have a threat just next to them? I think they do. All eyes, all arrows are pointing in that direction.
Got your head on a swivel at this point. They're sitting right on the edge. You think it's unlikely at this point that someone's going to try and make the long bomb rotation up north past Saverny. So they're definitely looking inwards. But in this situation, SWAT 69, yeah, they're playing this slow. I think this is 100% the right call here. So it's the idea of the knowledge game. Mind games. How much do they know that we know that they know? You know what I mean? In this case, we're trying to figure out how much intel does the other team have on our locations right now. And I don't know if they know this, but the jig is up.
Yeah, Squad. I like the fact that they're not even trying to go for even a bit of a poke right now because the phase is just about to shift and they don't want to be in a fight, but it's going to shift. It's not the worst for them, but it's still away from them. It's a hard shift down towards the southwest. Konita Power are loving this. They have a really good position. Umbra have a nice spot also to pick up a couple of kills from rotations, but everyone else is... Most everyone else is in a movement. Wildcard immediately in their vehicles. Nova immediately in their vehicles.
Yeah, this is going to get interesting because here we go, the party with Nova Esports and Wildcard breaking out the drive-by. HCL's trying to find the shots, able to trade one back. Slicky is going down, going to try and lay down. Oh, and GFan on the flank as well. With the optics, that could actually be huge. What looked like a potentially great position for Wildcard there, but a very split play from Nova. We'll see if they're going to be able to actually confirm any of these downs. The smokes are out. Cameron not quite able to find the shots, and that looks like Wildcard might be able to reset.
Maybe, but they're all still stacked up in one grenade. Because remember, Nova, despite having one down player in AZ who's getting revived, they still have players close. The nade's already coming out. That's a smoke, potentially allow him to get closer. But a well-placed frag by one of these two players could spell the end. And I think that's why Spring immediately split off, found a rock of his own.
I think that was the play for sure. Trying to get an additional angle because we've seen time and again, nice shots. What happens when players stack up a lot? Obviously, you want to be able to assist your teammates as much as possible. You need to be able to help them if they get down, but at the same time, when bullets are spraying back and forth, well, we can see what even happens right now in CQB. We're seeing Umbra, Vindex. Oh my goodness, he's just lying down prone on the hood of the vehicle, hiding in the smoke, hoping for the best because Udyr Killers are in a terrible position. 2 members are down. PRZ is going to be able to try and clean this one up. Hello, sir, from over the wall. And that is going to be another pickup there. Their first kill in this game. Oh, and you can just see the 2 remaining members just staring down at the compound of death where their 2 teammates just died. That feels bad, man.
Yeah, and they also see that Cloud9 are rolling up just above them. So if Cloud9 get even a scent, just a whiff, the wind blows a little bit in their direction, they could easily go incredibly aggressive onto this. And this is probably, it's hard cover technically, I guess, but it's not that great. But Octavian, pushed by 2, not even going to get one before he falls out. And that's going to be KHK eliminated first.
Out here first, KHK, unfortunate. Team coming in from PMCO Saudi Arabia, out 16th place. Not the way they wanted to start off the day, but there are plenty more games to be had. Cloud9, we've been seeing them up on the kill feed, getting involved in a couple different scuffles, but they've been able to keep all 4 members alive, and that is so important. Cameron, we talk about this, the idea how much easier it is to win the game. Get the chicken dinner if you're able to keep even one more player alive. Having that extra body, that extra shot, that extra distraction in these late game fights makes a world of difference. The nades start to fly in.
Your killers are in the worst position ever. You see 2 full squads of 4 just shooting at them, throwing grenades at them. That one looked like it might have been good. Just a little bit too short, unfortunately, but I don't know how they're going to get out of this. Their vehicle is on fire. Oh, that grenade is good.
Oh, I mean, like, who's going to get the kills? It's not the question of if they're going down. It's who's getting the points for it, Cameron. Here we go, Ader. Is it going to be money? Is it going to be... No, okay.
Ooh.
I hyped you up, man. I hyped you up, and you let me down.
There's a lot of smoke, okay? He's just...
All right.
Close to blind, so, you know, cut him a little bit of slack. He'll get them eventually.
He will get there. We'll get there. After seeing so many grenades just flying left and right here, the smack off the pan as well. As we are just lying prone, trying to get any ounce of cover to be had. But unfortunately, Cameron, the way the circle is rotated, there really isn't going to be much of any. I think a lot of slippery little snakes here to round out this game is how much teams have been able to prioritize usage of utility, particularly in terms of the smokes. How many they've been able to keep in their pockets for these final fights is going to make a huge difference as to who's going to make it from 15th position to first. Because I cannot believe we still have 15 teams in this game. Unique is facing down the barrel of a whole lot of problems.
Whole lot of problems in Alpha, who still have 4 members standing, and they have an all-right position on this plateau. There's not a lot of cover, and it's close to the circle, but Nemphis tries to go big, able to get a knock, but cannot secure even a single point from a kill. And this could be a good reset for Alpha, but the question is, where are they going to go? Because this plateau is not in the circle. There may be an itty-bitty lip of it, but there's really not a lot of cover in this circle, and that's why we're seeing a lot of action playing out right now, just because space is limited.
Oh my goodness, an uneven try and go in with the full set, and the rest of the team is going to try and make it through using the smokes as a little bit of cover, but it is Team Queso looking to do some work. Axial, can he get the shots? The nades are around. This little ridge has been the bane of a couple of different teams so far in this fight, but it's kind of a little bit of a 1v1 situation with Pyra. The nades are going back and forth, but Axel's getting the better of this initiation. Can he find the shots, though? And through the smoke, almost able to do it. The one-man army, Cloud9, needing to blast off right now if they want to be able to secure this kill, because this one solo player from Team Queso has just basically shut down this entire rotation, and finally they're able to deal with him, but it's cost them a lot of time, Cameron.
It's not even them. It's finally the blue was able to deal with them. And they're still just trying to reset, trying to get their feet out from under them. And they're down to 2, as you said. It's cost them a lot. They're moving some vehicles around to try and get some cover below that ridge. But it's a tight little area to control. Alpha here, they push forward, push into Tempo's compound. Or at least what remains of them. It's just Old Man remaining, hanging out inside of smoke. And you can see Tempo know that it's so close to removing that threat.
Yeah, and in an instant, you hear the gunshots on your screen, and we've gone from 15 teams to 8 in a matter of seconds. This has been a bloody final few circles, as Rain is going to try and rain the pain down on Old Man here. Can the nades connect? They will, but not enough to take him down quite yet. And this is just so annoying. We're seeing so many times these one single players able to just be enough of a threat. Like, Tempo would love to deal with other things right now. There are other teams rotating in, but because they have to deal with this one single player, the thorn in their side, it is causing so many resources to have to be... Every single player is looking at him right now.
Yeah. Like, if they didn't have this player here, if they didn't have Old Man, they could focus on clearing out the rest of the area, clearing out the south side, which you're going to need to now, because the circle shift means that there's going to be pressure from the south. But if Old Man continues to wait there, then it's going to be a split focus by them. Dura here, though, because of the shift, Cloud9 are in a lot more comfortable of a position. They have a little bit of a ridge. I think they have a small lip of it that's going to be in the next phase once the circle closes, and the blues are behind them. They're not going to have any pressure from the north, so they can actually just get some pot shops, perhaps pick up a couple of kills, steal some kills.
A little bit of circle luck there for C9, doing some work for them, keeping them in it for now. Umbra, though, has this really coveted compound. The last building going to be right there in the middle. But Konina Power, 3 members still up, able to get the down teammate back into the fight. So there's still actually a lot of the teams we had predicted as the favorites. Loops as well, still making it into these final few circles. There's a reason that the team's up at the top of the leaderboard, but Acer, once again, finding the long-range shot, the tap from Cloud9, making it work. Intensa returning the favor. Wildcard's getting hit from every single direction, Cameron.
Yeah, I mean, they were playing with death for the longest time with that previous engagement. I'm honestly a little surprised that they're still in the top 6 right now, but it's not looking great for them.
Yeah, this angle that C9 has been able to leverage here right on the back end, able to find the shots at range, and they've just been, again, this demon on the edge of the circle, just making every other team fear them, but they are at some point likely going to have to push into that compound. 4 players are still holding that. Loops has gone for an interesting strategy. They're spreading out as much as possible. They're just, at this point, trying to survive, trying to go for placement as much as they can. Konina Power is battered and bruised. Not a lot of meds left on them as well. It's actually Umbra who has the best position of any team right now, as long as this next circle favors them. And speaking of favor, hey, Drop, how you doing, Cloud9? Have some cover.
Ooh, yeah, that's actually, I think that drop is directly on top of Umbra, too. But you're right about the cover going to Cloud9, but unfortunately, Cloud9, they're basically the little brother of Umbra at this point. As long as something disastrous doesn't happen, as long as Umbra just ignores them, doesn't throw a grenade in their direction, and focuses on the teams on the south, Cloud9 will be able to climb placements with ease.
Yeah, and I totally misjudged where that care package was going to drop. It's right in the compound. Everything going the way of Umbra right now. Not hiding in the shadows, but coming out into the light of this first game, trying to do everything they can to walk away with the chicken dinner. But 4 members of Tempo Storm might look to deal with that as much as they can. Loop's taking some punishment, so is Tempo, though. They don't have necessarily the best position. They just have that tiny little shack. Cameron, that's all they have to their name right now.
It's better than what a couple other teams have. It's better than what Konina Power or Loops have. They just have some grass.
Oh my goodness, Loops is in a terrible position right now. Tempo has been able to build themselves a bit of a base, and that's just Loops getting absolutely wrecked, at least being able to deny the point to the blue, and that's Loops out. Not bad, though, overall. In 5th position, they were able to claw their way back through this. And we do have Konina Power, Team Umbra, Cloud9, and Tempo Storm, but Konina Power in a world of hurt, and somehow Cloud9 has been able to be relevant this entire time. How is Rain getting these kills? That's not allowed.
Oh, just the angles that Cornino Power are trying to find where a foot isn't sticking out, where Umbra can't shoot under the vehicle. It's very, very difficult for them. That's why they only have one player remaining. But now with all that space cleared and the circle coming in their direction, you can see immediately Tempo trying to go a little bit more aggressive, but Spec does get dropped. Keeps them a little humble, forced to reset. But now Umbra also need to leave their compound as well as Cloud9.
Tempo Storm has a little bit of a rise, has the circle. I haven't talked a ton about Tempo Storm. They've been one of these teams that's been kind of flying under the radar a little bit here, but Tensa and the crew have been looking so good, not tensing up at all. They are feeling loosey-goosey. They've got everything going for them right now, and Umbra trying to slow call out as much as they can, and that's Colina Power out. Beautiful shots from distance. Cloud9 has been able to weasel their way in really well, but I think Pyre at this point is pretty much just out of it. He's just trying to survive, as long as possible. He's heel stratting up. This is now the fight between Umbra and Tempo. And oh my goodness, Tempo Storm has all the positioning in the world. Where are you going, sir? Get right on down. HH24, no questions asked. And Pyre is just trying to outlive. And I can't believe he did it. Tempo Storm takes game number 1, but Cloud9 surviving against all odds. Oh my goodness.
11 kills for Tempo Storm off of that ending. They pick up like all these players surrounding them. Umbra, when they leave the compound, couldn't get those last 2 onto Cloud9 because good play by Cloud9 to give those points away to the blue. It's only 1 point in the grand scheme of things, but at the end, there's a lot of games that we play, and so those could add up to a lot at the end.
Does indeed, but Tempo Storm able to stick together, not overextending, taking the fights they knew they could win, and at the end, they had the high ground, and it worked out so beautifully for them. A fantastic job. I cannot credit them enough. Really, really solid play from Tempo Storm. Didn't let the game get away from them at all there, even in the chaos of those final few circles. Like I said, went from 15 teams to 8. Absolutely wild. But that's it for us for game number 1. We're going to hop onto a short commercial break. When we come back, the analysts are going to break that one down.